All right. Good morning, everybody. This is the April 10th, 2025 Coastal Permit Administrator hearing. And the Mendocino County Coastal Permit Administrator meetings will be conducted at 860 North Bush Street, Ukiah, California, and virtual attendance will be available via Zoom. Meetings are live streamed and available for viewing on the Mendocino County YouTube page. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 11 a.m. May I please get a determination of noticing?
All items on the agenda have been properly noticed.
Thank you. All right, so that moves us to our regular calendar, item number 3A, which is CDP 2023-0045. Owner applicant is George Tulakayan, and the agent is Daryl Jackson. Requests a standard coastal development permit to construct a 1,536 square foot single-family residence with an attached 528 square foot garage with a second-story deck, install a septic system, and a grade and a driveway and building pad. The project has been determined to be categorically exempt under CEQA. Project is located in the coastal zone, 4± miles north of the Manchester Town Center, 0.1± miles northeast of the intersection of State Route 1 and Cypress Point Road, located at 14735 Cypress Point Road, Manchester, Assessor's Parcel number 132073-03. Please get a staff report.
Good morning, Russ Ford, Senior Planner. This is a pretty straightforward project. The site is currently vacant. It's part of the Irish Beach subdivision. The request is to build a single-family residence and a garage. There were no significant issues that were identified with the exception of I think it was a 2-parameter wetland in the southeast corner of the lot. The proposed backup septic field location would be within 15 feet of that wetland. So the condition would say that should the backup field need to be installed, a modification would be required for this permit. So the backup field location would not be approved with this, and they would have to come back if they needed this. There were apparently some previous drainage issues on the lot around the northwest corner where the Cypress Point Road is. I did receive a call from a neighboring property owner yesterday who was concerned about some of the engineering that might be required to address the drainage issues. None of the materials that the applicant submitted addressed any of the drainage issues, so there were no conditions relevant to it. If something like that did come up, they would probably require an additional modification or a CDP for it. I did talk to the property owner yesterday. He did not have any other comments or concerns about that. So staff is recommending approval with conditions per the staff report.
All right, thank you. So I will now hear from the owner applicant or the agent.
There's nobody here.
Nobody here. All right. So I'll bring it back to the, no, actually at this point, I will open up the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak on this matter, both in person and online?
We have none on Zoom and none in the room.
Anybody here want to speak on this item? No? All right, then I'll bring it back to the CPA. And based on the evidence presented here, as well as the documentation provided in the staff report, I'll go ahead and find that the project is categorically exempt under CEQA and move to approve the project based on the findings and conditions contained in the staff report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that brings us to item number 2, or actually 3B on the agenda. This is a continued item from March 13th, 2025, CDP 2024-004. Owner applicant is Martin Ryman and Oliver Scheich. Request is a standard coastal development permit to construct a single-family residence, landscape berm, water catchment area, accessory dwelling unit, shed, storage shed, entry gate, and fence improvements to an existing driveway, an existing fence, deepening an existing well, after the fact permitting of a driveway, and mitigation of impacts to wetlands due to the development of the unpermitted driveway. The project has been determined to require a mitigated negative declaration under CEQA, and the project is located in the coastal zone 1.15 miles south of Albion on the west side of State Route 1, located at 2300 North Highway 1 in Albion. Assessor's parcel number 123-29003. Please get a staff report.
Yes, hi, this is Liam with Planning and Building. So this project was continued from a prior meeting, and last week, on Friday, I believe, and this week as well, I've received a couple of comments from the Coastal Commission that raised several substantial concerns regarding the project. So I've talked with the property owner, and to address the concerns, they'll have to make some substantial revisions to the project and submit additional documents. So in order to do that, I'm recommending that the CPA continue the project to a date uncertain, to allow enough time to revise the project and ensure that the concerns of the commission have been addressed.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant or their agent present? No? Okay, well, at this point, if you've already consulted with the applicant and the idea is to continue it to give everybody the opportunity to work things out before we move forward, then I will go ahead and move to continue to a date uncertain. Have the applicants been told about the noticing requirements and so on for a continuance regarding the, to a date uncertain? In other words, they're subject to the cost of paying for the noticing.
I haven't discussed the re-noticing for that.
Okay,
but
so they're just
I'll-
something to let them know that it's something that they'll be wanting to know. Other than that, I will go ahead and continue this to a date uncertain. So for those of you watching out there, date uncertain means we don't know to what date this will be continued to. Those of you that are watching this case, again, you'll want to check with Liam Crawley, project planner, so that you'll know when this thing is coming back to hearing. All right, so continue date uncertain. Okay, that brings us to item 3C, CDP 2024-0026. Owner applicant is Mitchell and Anna Heller. Request is a standard coastal development permit to gravel an existing driveway, construct a 2,760 square foot single-family residence, an attached 599 square foot garage and workshop, a sauna, a well pump house, install a septic system, a well storage tank, hot tub, and a sauna. In addition, the project includes proposing a public access easement. The project has been determined to be categorically exempt under CEQA, and the project is located in the coastal zone 2.7 miles south of Point Arena City Center, 0.15 plus minus miles southwest of the intersection of Warren Drive and State Route 1, located at 27232 Warren Drive, Point Arena. Assessor's parcel number 027-412-56. Now please get a staff report.
Sure. Good morning, CPA. Project planner Shelby Miller here. As previously stated, the project involves constructing a single-family residence, ancillary structures, and a public access easement. A categorical exclusion permit was approved in 1995 for a test well. Thus, the property is served with an adequate water supply. As detailed in the staff report, the project complies with the applicable general plan and zoning designation of rural residential. Additionally, a public access easement exists on the property that was accepted by the Moat Creek Managing Agency in 1999. And this easement is approximately like 10 feet from the existing bluff edge and is a segment of the California Coastal Trail. The project was referred to applicable public agencies, including the Coastal Commission, State Coastal Conservancy, and the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. The State Coastal Conservancy provided comments stating that the Conservancy was involved in the creation of the easement and helped support the initial construction of this section of the coastal trail, and recommends that the applicant record an ambulatory easement for the coastal trail public access initiative. California Department of Fish and Wildlife stated that it is their understanding that the applicant has revised the project to reduce potential impacts to sensitive natural communities, but that portions of the septic system and or leach field will be within the 100-foot buffer of the northern Bishop Pine Forest. This sensitive natural community is considered an environmentally sensitive habitat area under the local coastal program, and a buffer reduction is proposed. And the Department of Fish and Wildlife concurs with the buffer reduction if the following recommendations are incorporated into the conditions of approval. The following recommendations is essentially to just incorporate the recommendations that were provided in the biological scoping report prepared by WRA. Also to target non-native and invasive species for removal for a period of no less than 5 years. Another is to require the landscaping to be comprised of native and locally appropriate species, and proposed burns to encourage northern Bishop Pine germination shall not occur in areas proposed for development to avoid any potential or future development need to remove the species. Encourage the natural regeneration of the natural communities on site and enhancement planting within buffer areas of the locally appropriate native species that comprise the on-site natural communities, and also to install low symbolic fencing as close as feasible to the development within the 100-foot buffer to reduce future encroachment into that buffer. And the Coastal Commission also provided some comments which were essentially recommendations to, 1, remove the authorization of vesting and or current installation of the proposed secondary leach field system. 2, condition the permit to prevent the introduction of native plant species to the site, such as cleaning equipment prior to use on site, the removal of invasive species, and proper disposal to prevent spread, use of only certified weed-free mulch in landscaped areas. 3, condition the permit to require that all landscaping be limited to native, regionally appropriate land species. And 4, work with the applicant to achieve an ambulatory easement for the public access trail that runs through the property. And aside from the recommended ambulatory easement, all other recommendations from these agencies have been incorporated into the conditions of approval. And after consulting with the applicant's attorney, staff prepared 2 memos to provide clarification on the proposed offer to dedicate public access easement. And also the staff memo, the first one that was posted, clarifies that a propane tank is also included in the project scope. That was not mentioned prior, but it is now. All changes have been incorporated into the memos and will be in this final staff report and notice of final action. And the project is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. There was 1 public comment from the applicant. Basically, to summarize, it states that Moat Creek HOA supports the project. And with that said, staff recommends approval with the conditions added. And that is all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. There's two memos, and there's modifications to condition 28. Which memo should we go with? Because in one memo, you have in red G, and the other one, you have G crossed out.
Yes, we're gonna cross out G. We're omitting G completely. 28A has been added, little, maybe 2 sentences have been
Mhm.
added, to essentially address,
So we're gonna go with the last memo.
correct.
Okay, so this one clarified a few things in the description.
Mm-hmm,
So the description is applicable,
correct.
but, and the findings are applicable, but condition 28 is per this last memo.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay. Can you explain what a symbolic fencing is?
Sure. So symbolic fencing, it essentially wants, people want it to be, or Department of Fish and Wildlife wants it to be low enough that it's wildlife friendly, but also you can, a lot of people use logs as the symbolic fencing. Logs or any other types of, some people use like, you know, those path lights, like they're on a path and there's like little lights on each side.
Mhm.
They use that as a fence as well, to basically provide an indication that people should not go past that area. And yeah, so
So
logs
it might
is a
be
great
like
idea.
what is seen in parks where they put logs along trails to keep
Correct.
people. Okay, that's
Yes.
what okay, just for clarification.
Mm-hmm, thank you.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. We're gonna have to reference both staff memos, but we'll call this second memo. It's
Thank
where
you.
G gets omitted. Okay. All right, so with that, do we have the applicant and agent present?
We do.
All right, so with that, if you'd like to speak, please state your name for the record, and then I'll go ahead and pass it over to you.
My name is Mitchell Heller. I just wanted to say that, we do believe in public access. We've worked with various agencies and concerned parties to make sure that the project is not only in compliance, but will, promote native species and be in place, be appropriate to the place where it's being built.
Okay. Selma, did you have anything to?
No, I don't. Thank you, though.
Sir?
Donald McMullen for the applicant. I have nothing further to add other than the correspondence I've sent already to Ms.
Mhm.
Miller.
So have you read both memos and are in agreement?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak on this matter, both in the room and online? Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to the CPA. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and move to find that the project is categorically exempt under CEQA. And I'm going to go ahead and approve it subject to the modifications to the findings and conditions, specifically condition number A, staff memo, and I'm going to just call it the staff memo number 2. And I think what I'll do, Shelby, is I'll let you work with Jocelyn to finalize so that there's 2 memos. And basically what I would like to see is the 2 combined
Okay.
into one
Sure.
that actually, states, because I think when you have 2, it could be confused because one has G crossed out, the other one doesn't. The question is going to be, which one is which?
Sure.
So just work with Jocelyn to see that they're combined and you have one new memo. And that's what we'll go with. So with that, project is approved, subject to these modifications.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
For
you.
your patience and working with staff on this. All right, so
Yeah.
that takes us to item number 5, which is matters from the public. The coastal permit administrator welcomes participation in meetings. This item is limited to matters under the jurisdiction of the coastal permit administrator, which are not on the posted agenda, and items which have already been considered, which have not already been considered by the coastal permit administrator, so no action will be taken. Are there any matters from the public?
None on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, I'll move to item number 6, which is adjournment, and I'll adjourn the meeting at 11:20 a.m. Okay, and that concludes today's meeting.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks.
Pretty painless, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.